Repeat after me. What's the dream? What's the dream? What's the dream? I pledge my life, that I say unto you. That I say unto you. In the name of the God Father, of the God Father, and the Son Jesus Christ, and the Son Jesus Christ, the power of the Holy Ghost, the power of the Holy Ghost. Hallelujah!
In Dallas, Texas, at sunrise, when her husband shot her dead, Dishaye Stevenson murdered. What if the man you love most was the one who shot you dead? Her body lay by Murdoch Road. She would never return home. It was early, Wednesday morning, October 25th, 2023. The sky hadn't even warmed yet, just a haze over South Dallas. She had woken up like any other day, loyal, giving, stretched thin. Her car rolled past Lincoln Memorial Cemetery. Within minutes, she was gone. No one saw the gun go off, but the silence afterward said everything. A woman who spent her life protecting everyone, her child, her mother, even the man who would betray her the worst, was found face down near a ditch. 7:20 a.m., shot once, in the chest, no ID on her, just one sandal. And for a while, she was just Jane Doe. Even the cops didn't know who she was, but someone knew. The thing is, Dishaye Stevenson was the kind of woman people remembered, always doing someone else's hair, organizing little events, keeping things afloat when others couldn't. The kind of woman who didn't ask for much, but gave more than she ever got back. The kind of woman whose smile could stop you mid-sentence, even when she herself was carrying too much. So when her phone went silent that morning, when her car didn't show up where it always did, when her daughter didn't get a good morning text, the people who loved her knew something was wrong way before the rest of the world noticed. What they didn't know was this: the man she'd spent years holding down, through court dates, through prison time, through things she never even told her sister, was the same man now sitting in a car with blood on his seat and her sandal under the driver's side. But back then, at 7:20 a.m., nobody knew any of that. All they had was a name and a silence that was suddenly too loud. This is the story of Dishaye Stevenson and how love, loyalty, and silence can kill. You are watching Black Girl Lost, where we don't just tell true crime stories. We tell her story, the ones the system tried to erase, the ones the headlines never fully explain. Subscribe to bring more attention to stories that matter. Like if you believe Black women deserve protection. Comment your thoughts as you watch. Your voice helps bring justice before the headlines, before the yellow tape and the questions. There was just Dishaye. Born and raised in Dallas, Texas, she was the kind of girl you noticed without trying. Not because she was loud, but because she was consistent. Every family has that one person who remembers everyone's birthday, who keeps track of who needs help, who never misses a call when someone's in trouble. For the Stevensons, that was her. Dishaye grew up in a house where survival meant you did not wait to be asked. You helped. You showed up. You figured things out. Her mother taught her that. And later, when her mother's health began to fade and her legs stopped working the way they used to, it was Dishaye who stepped up, quietly, without complaint. By the time she was 35, she was not just a daughter or a sister. She was a caretaker, a mother to a 16-year-old daughter who still had her mama's laugh, a protector, a provider, a woman who knew how to hustle for every dime, whether it was hosting local pop-up events or helping friends turn their ideas into businesses. She was a doer, a dreamer, and despite everything she had on her plate, she made time for joy. There is a photo her sister Jasmine keeps on her phone. It is nothing glamorous, just Dishaye, sitting in the kitchen late at night, hair wrapped, paperwork spread across the table, a pen in her hand, planning something, probably for somebody else. That was who she was. Jasmine once said she did everything in her power to show him that she loved him no matter what, even when he didn't deserve it. She was Dishaye. Him was Michael. When Dishaye met Michael Smith, it was not some whirlwind romance. It was more layered than that. He had history, he had done time, but he also had charm, that slow southern drawl, the kind that made people lean in a little closer when he talked, and he made her feel needed. Maybe that was the first red flag, but at the time, all she wanted was to believe that some people really just needed one more chance. He did not just come into her life, he moved into it. Friends say he was different in public, friendly, respectful, the kind of man who shook your hand with both of his. At family barbecues, he was the one helping carry trays. The mask was clean, no cracks, yet. At home, the reality was more complicated. She was covering bills, lending money, making excuses. But she never stopped defending him, even when he slipped, even when people told her to let him go. There is still a pink hairbrush sitting on the edge of her mother's dresser. No one has moved it since she died. Next to it, a half-folded flyer from an event she had planned for her niece's birthday. Her handwriting, big loopy letters that always leaned a little to the right. She had circled the date twice. She had plans. She had people to show up for, and somehow in between raising a daughter, caring for her mother, holding down a household, and trying to keep love alive, she kept believing that better was coming. Not because life ever gave her a reason to, but because she refused to stop giving it one. Which dream of hers broke your heart the most? It was a Sunday afternoon, the sun was out, there was no storm in the forecast. On Murdoch Road, the quiet was ordinary, a house that looked like any other, a neighborhood where people still waved to each other, until everything changed. The glass was cracked, the blinds were drawn, the silence was not peaceful, it was wrong. By the time the police got there, everything inside was still. But let's rewind. 72 hours earlier, Friday, 6:12 p.m., Jasmine was calling Dishaye. No answer, she texted. "You good?" She stared at the screen. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Friday night. Neighbors said they heard voices. Not screaming, just raised, controlled. 1 man, 1 woman, and then nothing. Saturday morning. Dishaye's daughter stayed with her grandmother. She said her mom had not smiled much lately. Said she always looked like she had something on her mind. Saturday evening. Anita, Dishaye's cousin, felt uneasy. She said she could not sleep. She said she felt heavy, like something was wrong before it was. Sunday, 11:44 a.m. Jasmine pulled up to the house. Her knock turned into pounding. Her voice got louder. She walked around the car, looked through the window. That is when she saw it. "I saw a big handprint on the driver window, like somebody slammed it, like real hard. That is not my sister's handprint. It was too high, too wide, too forceful." She knew something had happened, but not what. Michael had changed. His charm was something he wore, not something he had. In public, he was polite, called her babe, smiled. But behind closed doors, his tone had an edge. He watched what she wore. He had questions about where she was. He made her feel like she had done something wrong if she disagreed. He never had to put hands on her to make her feel small. He just stopped talking. Or talked too much, or waited until she was tired to start an argument. That is how power works sometimes. Quiet, precise, layered in guilt. He made her feel like he needed her, and like she was failing him. And Dishaye, she carried that. She thought she could love him into peace, but people like Michael, they do not want peace, they want control. Anita saw it coming. She has worked in the justice system. She said the signs were all there: isolation, financial stress, emotional exhaustion. She said it plain. Women like Dishaye don't always leave because they're weak. They stay because they think they're strong enough to survive it. The night before, Dishaye's daughter called again. No answer. The pacing slows here for a reason, because it is the part right before, when your gut knows something your brain is afraid to name, when the door is still closed, when there is still a chance to turn around, when love still feels like it can fix what pain has broken. This is the part that hurts the most, because she was still alive and no one knew. It was the last full night she would ever see, the moment she was killed. There was no countdown, no scream, no warning that someone could hear in time. It was just fast and final, a single shot, to the chest, point blank. That is what Dallas police said. No struggle, no fight to be heard, just silence. Then the sound that shatters it all. When Dishaye Stevenson's body was discovered, she was no longer in her home. She was found dumped on the side of a road, like she meant nothing, like she was a thing that had to be removed. Her cousin was there, so was Jasmine. They found her before the coroner did, and that is what you never forget. You never forget the smell of hot asphalt and engine smoke. You never forget the flash of sirens bouncing off the side mirror. You never forget the way a body looks when it is no longer lit from within. There was a single sandal left at the scene, just one. The other one was later found inside his car. He had driven off like it was over, like there would be no consequence. But he did not clean the car. Investigators said there was blood on the seat, a shell casing wedged in the corner. You do not leave something that close, that violent, and think it stays hidden. But the truth is, this is not just about what he did, it is about what was not done. There was no restraining order, there was no formal report. There was no record strong enough to stop what everybody around her felt, but could not prove. And this is where it cracks wide open. This is where the system says she never filed anything, while her family is left screaming she was scared to. This is where the paperwork matters more than the bruises you cannot see. This is where women like Dishaye, Black women, are expected to be strong, forgiving, understanding, until their silence gets used against them, until they are gone. And all we are left with is what should have happened, what should have been done, what protection should have been in place before her blood was soaked into a car seat. She should have been heard, she should have been protected, she should have been here. What should have happened that didn't? Tell us in the comments, because somebody watching this is in her place, and we cannot afford to miss it again. Jasmine could not speak at first. When the officers confirmed it was her sister's body, the breath left her. She sat in silence for hours. Then she finally asked, "Why would you take my sister from us?" No one had the answer. The question was never for him. It was for everyone. For the world that kept telling Dishaye to keep it together, to work things out, to give it time. Her sister was 21, a mother, a student, a dreamer, and now, gone. The grief stretched past family lines. The moment her photo hit local blogs, it did not stop. People posted memories, teachers, neighbors, childhood friends, and strangers too. Mothers who said, "This could have been my baby." Women who said, "This was me years ago." People who wrote things like, "She never even got to turn the page." A storm lit up social media, and then just as fast, it slowed. Other headlines took over, bigger names, cases with more video, more spectacle, and just like that, her name was pushed down. But her family never let go. They showed up to every hearing, every update, every time the court rescheduled.
She was going through stuff, but who don't, but we won't know like how deep it was or what all she was going through, because she was very secretive. She just gonna tell you what she wants you to know, because, a lot of people go big and talk and, stuff like that. So she wasn't giving her all or telling everything. Like my niece probably know more than anybody, because they was best friends, it was just always them. So she would talk to my niece, and they'll be talking all times of the night about how he treating them, and but it never got back to us. We just got what she wanted to tell us. Why? You could have been up, you could have did anything else. So why did you take her from my niece? I don't understand. I would respect him more if he tell me why. She did everything. My sister did everything for him. It was nothing he couldn't ask her for. She did everything. She did everything in her power to show him that she loved him no matter what. I just don't understand. I just want to know why. Why would you take my sister from us? Why? She didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve to be thrown out the car, whatever you did. She didn't deserve none of that. You could have took her legs, her fingers, anything. Like, why would you take my sister's life? You say you love my niece, bro. You can't love her. You took the only thing that she had. The only thing. Yeah, she got us, but it's nothing like her mama. I just really want to ask him why. He always wanted that happy life. She was saying divorce, but he always come back and make her feel better. So it was just, she just loved him. That's it. Like, she always wanted it to work.
Michael, the man accused of murdering her, was charged with her death. His bond was set at $1 million. But that did not bring justice. It only meant he was being held. There has been no trial, no date set, just more waiting. The law moves at its own pace, but grief does not wait. Her funeral was quiet, but full. There was a framed photo of her at the altar. She was smiling in it, like she always smiled, like nothing had been stolen yet. Her old graduation cap sat beside a candle, and in the front pew, her daughter. Too young to understand why the room was full of red eyes. Too young to understand where her mother had gone, but old enough to reach for her hand, even when it was not there. That is the part nobody talks about. The long grief, the everyday ache, the missing lunchbox in the morning, the voicemail that never gets deleted, the Facebook memories that show up whether you are ready or not. As of today, Michael is still in jail, waiting for trial, waiting for his day in court. But Dishaye, she never got a second chance. She never got to explain, never got to walk away clean, never got to raise her child and see her grow. That chance was taken from her, and yet she still lives. In the people who say her name, in the mothers who leave now, in the daughters who see the signs and run, in the sisters who stop staying silent. Because legacy is not what you leave behind when you pass. It is what you force the world to confront when you are gone. Dishaye Stevenson should still be here, but if we are honest, there are too many names we should not have to say, and far too many we never even get to hear. Because when Black women go missing, are beaten, are threatened, are killed, it does not always make the evening news. There are no round-the-clock cameras, no breaking alerts, no headlines that say nation in shock. There is often just silence, and families left holding the pieces. The truth is, Dishaye's case is not an outlier, it is part of a pattern. In America, Black women experience domestic violence at higher rates than nearly any other group. They are more likely to be killed by an intimate partner, more likely to be criminalized when they try to protect themselves, less likely to get protective orders that are enforced, less likely to be believed. And when they do cry out, when they tell their friends, their jobs, their neighbors, they are told to stay quiet, to calm down, to give it time. How many more Dishayes? How many more before someone finally listens the first time? Marissa, Rainisha, Tamia, Jasmine, Tiquisha, Charnel, and too many whose stories never made the headlines. Their lives were full. They were mothers, students, sisters, dreamers, and they are gone. But they should not be forgotten, not one of them. When Black women scream, the world turns down the volume, but this time, let us make it impossible to ignore. Say her name, say their names, say the truth out loud. So no more women have to carry their fear in silence. So no more families have to bury their daughters wondering what more they could have done. So no more children have to grow up asking, why did nobody help my mom? This story does not end here. It cannot. Subscribe, like, share this, say her name, change the system, because what happened to Dishaye should have never happened, and it cannot happen again.